Now kind of on to my list. Most impactful free agents, got Kyrie Irving. Even though I kind of talked about him in the last segment, but to me, if the Mavericks let him go, they're not. To me, they're not replacing that with. I don't see anybody they can replace it with. Also, Austin Reeves. I think that he's a really good kind of glue guy for the. I think he's a really good glue guy for the Lakers. And my other one would be kind of what the Cavs did with Strus / George Niang. Just getting some shooting, because having Isaac Okoro starting, being basically a defensive player, we playing 4 and 5 on the offensive end, and this guy would literally, with the Knicks, be standing wide open. Obviously, they leaving you wide open for a reason, and just missed 3 after 3 after 3. I almost thought it was Russell Westbrook shooting in the corner. And then the deals I didn't like, obviously Dylan Brooks. Like 80 million, like what the heck are you even doing? He's not worth that. And then also, like my other host Jaden said, Fred VanVleet. Now let me tell you something that I couldn't believe when I just looked this up. Okay, VanVleet makes more money than Anthony Davis, Devin Booker, and Luka Doncic. Are you serious?
He went for that bag.
He did.
Like, you can't get mad at him for going for that bag.
But it's crazy.
But like you paying him.
He's
not better than either three of them, and it got to a point they had all the money, so like just spend it instead of just spending it smart and maybe getting some really good players, because you're not winning it all this year.
Get some young pieces.
Yeah, and instead of they just saying, "Oh, we got money to blow." Like that was something.
No way. But yeah, like they just made an investment. Like you get money, Dylan Brooks, you get money. I can understand the Dylan Brooks signing. If you would have signed Dylan Brooks for 4 years, $80 million, I can understand that. I don't understand the Fred VanVleet signing. I understand Dylan Brooks because you need a 3.
You need that culture. You need that grit to your team.
You need somebody who can bring that edge. The Rockets sucked on defense.
Yeah, they did.
You need somebody who can bring that physicality, that ego, a little bit, that dark side. If that's
maybe bring the best out of the players.
You know what I'm saying? Make them more competitive than what they are. But VanVleet?
Just kind of on that point, and Landy can chime in. I feel like for the Rockets, they didn't care about defense. To me, I feel like it's easier to fix a team defensively than offensively. What'd you say?
Yeah, you're right in that perspective. Because offensively, any player in the NBA can be an elite player on offense. It's just about the situation that they're in. It's like whatever team like best fits someone, that's going to be how I feel like great they're going to be on offense. Because it's like certain players in the league, I feel like they wouldn't be as good of an offensive player on certain teams.
I definitely agree with you. And that kind of great players, that goes into our next segment of what we're going to wrap up with top 5. You got top 5 underrated players going into next year and top 5 overrated players going into next year. I'll go ahead and pop it off with my top 5 underrated. Number 1, your guy and your guy. So he's our guy. Darius Garland. Number 1. I just don't see him going to Timberwolves, but beyond that standpoint, he is the most underrated player in the league, in my opinion. He should be an all-star player every year, year in and year out. His shot-making ability is beyond this world, and then he can pass like Rondo. So you could score like Harden a little bit, and you could pass like Rondo. I like that. Second, another guy we mentioned, who people might think from watching that I'm not a fan of, but he's my second most underrated player, Tyrese Maxey.
Okay.
Tyrese Maxey is second on my list. I love Tyrese Maxey. I feel like him and Anthony Simons can be compared to each other, but Tyrese Maxey goes to another team, he's averaging 25, 26 points per game. Y'all were so right about that. Third, this player showed this year that when he got traded and became that number 1 option, kind of like y'all argument with Maxey, he's averaging 27, 28 points per game in Mikal Bridges. Mikal Bridges played for the Phoenix Suns, and he was just a 3-and-D. He might give you 14, 15 points a game. Now he goes to Brooklyn, where he's the number 1 option, 30. Fourth, another player we mentioned today, Josh Giddey. Josh Giddey could be a triple-double machine. He could be an 18, 9, and 9 type of player for the rest of his career, which is very high IQ and what you need on your team. And that's probably going to go underappreciated. It might not get you to the All-Star team, but it can get you to the championship. And that will always fly on the radar. And last but not least, on my most underrated players, is Scottie Barnes. Scottie Barnes won the Rookie of the Year. He gets a lot of hate for no reason. And is he the best jump shot shooter? Absolutely not. But it's not a lot of players with an IQ and athleticism and defensive ability.
Oh my God.
That his playmaking and defensive ability is out of this world. And he can help any championship.
He's Ben Simmons-esque, but he's not afraid to take the shot.
Exactly. And he's very, very much more aggressive on offense. So I think Scottie Barnes he's going to be another player who always kind of flies on the radar, probably average 18, 8, and 7, and might not make a all-star game, but he's very pivotal on the teams that he played for. So that's my top 5 underrated. I'll let y'all chime in on that or give y'all a list.
Go ahead.
All right. Ballot list. A couple questionable, but hey, I give my top 5 underrated. De'Aaron Fox to me.
Okay.
All right. Got Darius Garland, same as your list. This person just really impressed me in the playoffs, even against my team, Jalen Brunson. I think he's a really, I really, unfortunately, really started to like his game, the way he played just in the playoffs. Looked like a #1 guy. So kind of leaving from Dallas, and he's really starting to bloom now. Desmond Bane, I think he can even grow even more, especially with John Morant being out. But I think he's a really good player on both ends. And the last person people probably be shocked, but Jordan Clarkson. I think he just always been like a really good player. You just coming off the bench gonna score. I think he's been a really solid player throughout his whole career.
That's valid.
Underrated on my list. #1, I'm gonna probably have to go Malik Monk, man. Malik Monk just had an incredible season this year, man. It just what he brought to the team is just like on a whole other level. I really don't feel like it's too many more players in the league that can come off the bench and do what he was doing productive wise. Also, I'm gonna go say Jamal Murray at 2. Jamal Murray, people thought he wasn't going to be the same player after the injury, but the season that he had this year, going especially in the playoffs wise, it just was incredible, man. Another player also, I'm gonna go with Darius Garland also. Darius Garland is very underrated. I just feel like he's not going to be the star that he can be on that team because of the spotlight of Donovan Mitchell. So I really feel like he's underrated. Also, Jaylen Brown. I feel like Jaylen Brown's very underrated.
I feel like he proved himself.
I feel like Jaylen Brown underrated, man.
Yeah, as just people thinking of him in the league, I think.
I feel like from the
underrated.
perspective of them wanting Jason Tatum to be the #1 option, I really feel like Jason Tatum takes so much spotlight off of what Jaylen Brown does.
Correct.
And they try to run through so much offense on Jason Tatum that Jaylen Brown doesn't get the shots that because Jaylen Brown's goals, he done went, in the playoffs, he went quarters without shooting the ball. I'm like, if they're going to run plays for him or anything, and he's supposed to be your #2 option, I feel like he's very underrated. And also, I feel like, I don't know what it is, but I feel like Bradley Beal is about to have that season, man. I just really do. Bradley Beal, I feel like he's very underrated, bro. Him being on the Wizards really shadowed what his potential really is. I feel like this year, Bradley Beal is going to average at least 24, 25 points a game.
It's only one ball.
I really know that. I know that, but I feel like Bradley Beal is just going to be an outstanding player this year.
Hopefully he stay healthy, of course.
Now, top 5 overrated. I actually got about 7 guys on the list. So
goodness.
me.
You don't like nobody.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna go ahead and get Anthony Davis out the way. To me, the reason why I say overrated is because when you consistently, that's one person you don't know if he gonna show up like he can, or if he gonna show up, or if he just gonna disappear and not show up the game at all. Obviously, health there's a little bit to go with it, but I think he just so inconsistent. To me, he's overrated for what he should be. And then also I got Jimmy Butler. I just think obviously he's not a #1 option. I think kind of this year proved that, and that's really why they're trying to get Damian Lillard, because I think he would be a solid 2. But I just think that just the way he played in that finals, and he has sometimes ability to just disappear. I think he's an overrated player. This next guy is just because of the hype that's around him. It's VIKTOR Wembanyama.
He ain't even played yet.
And I understand.
I really
that.
feel like he's overrated too, man.
He's already like he hasn't played, but he's already overrated in my opinion.
It's like how they're trying to push his narrative so much to where they're with all this LeBron, next LeBron, and like it's just going overboard.
I don't see him being the next LeBron. However, I will give him the benefit of the doubt and not call him overrated because I feel like he could still be a good player in the NBA.
He's overrated if he's not the greatest player of all time. By pretty much by every standard, that the most hyped player of all time, all of this, if he's not better than LeBron or to LeBron's level, to me, then he's overrated because everybody's trying to make him as he's the biggest star. He's even like if you think about football, I don't know if I've ever seen somebody hyped up the way he gets hyped up. It's just, to me, that's why I say it's overrated. Now we'll see what he becomes, but if he's not Rookie of the Year and averaging at least 20, 25 points, 10 rebounds, whatever, I think he was overrated for what they told us that he is.
So would you call him a bust after 1 year?
I would say this.
I wouldn't say I wouldn't call him a bust yet. I mean, after 1 year, but I would still say if he doesn't come in and light the league up, he was overrated for what they told us he was.
If he's not better than what Evan Mobley is now, he's overrated. By his first year, if he's not better than what Evan Mobley is, he's overrated.
He has no choice but to be better than Evan Mobley. I'm gonna tell you that. Why? Because the ball not in Evan Mobley's hand. Evan Mobley is more of a catch the ball off the alley, off the pick and roll. Wembanyama can create his own shot, so he gonna have a better statistical year than Evan Mobley.
I just don't. That Spurs system isn't really, to me, it's
built to play free play.
Yeah, it's built to move in motion and do all this other stuff. Now I don't know. Maybe Pop. No, I can't see. When you that old, you stuck to your ways.
No, that is not true. That's actually the opposite. When you're that old, think Andy Reid, for example, in the Kansas City Chiefs with the spinning around the ring around the rosy. The older you get, the more you realize to kind of just let your team play. And
just before you go, the only reason why I say that is Andy Reid's always been an innovative person, like his whole career. So that doesn't surprise me. But just, I'm sorry. I've been around a different amount of old people, and a lot of times it's certain stuff that, I mean, any coach, you gonna have certain things that you just apply for. But to me, in his mind, he's one with. Not always. I mean, he's obviously had Tim Duncan and those players, but to me, those are like great players. But it's not like he hasn't had somebody to me on like a LeBron or a Jordan or a Kobe level. But he's had. Do you disagree?
Tim Duncan, I wouldn't even say arguably, he is top 10 all time, and you just said Kobe level, who's also top 10 all time.
But I don't like. If I'm thinking, I would build my organization around Kobe before you build Tim Duncan. Now, I'm not saying Tim Duncan is not a great player. But I'm saying, like, when you think faces of the league, Duncan had never been that. MVP, just stuff like that. To me, he had him, Mano. He had really good pieces that he formed into a team, and that's why they were so consistently good. But it's not like he wasn't like a Phil Jackson. He went from MJ to Kobe and stuff like that. So that's just kind of my point on that. I think that he has a way of winning, and I don't see him just letting Wembanyama come down and do what he want to do. Because I think if he did that, that would be a disservice to him. Because I think he needs to. He obviously he's the guy, but he needs to come into a system where he doesn't have to feel like all this pressure on him. He got to do everything. He should feel like he got people around him that's going to help him win.
Yes, Pop has a way of winning, but everyone knows if a team just had the #1 pick, 9 times out of 10 they're rebuilding. The Spurs have not been close to even making the playoffs in the past 3-4 years. So with that being said, Coach Popovich isn't going to be coaching for the same standard that he would have been once coaching. He's now coaching younger players who are trying to establish themselves in the league and become good players. Therefore, his sternness will still be like, oh, foot on your neck, go hard, but he still might give them a little bit more freedom to play their game. If you kind of watch how they played with Trey Jones, and he had more freedom to do stuff, and Keldon Johnson, who was getting about 22, 23 points a game, he let them play a little bit. It's not more so go through Tim Duncan, David Robinson, Parker, because he doesn't have those caliber of players. So with Wembanyama, I feel like he'll have the ball in his hands more because Popovich wants to see what he can do and get him that confidence that he needs that, okay, I can go out here and get 25, 26 a game. And if that's the case, then Popovich might be able to bring this piece in, these pieces in, these pieces in, these pieces in, and kind of develop a game plan and an offensive structure.
And then kind of we'll go through the rest of my list, aka Ice Trae Young. I just think he is a guy. Obviously, the Hawks had that year where they made a really good run in the playoffs. But I don't feel like he's getting to that next. Like he should be top 3, like he should be in the MVP discussion in my opinion. He's ultra talented. Like they compare him to Steph Curry or whatever like that, just by the way he shoots. But he hasn't took that next step, and I think he's overrated. I really don't. Like when I think best players in the league, I really don't think Trae Young. Another guy, James Harden. I think he's pretty much out of his. I think his prime is pretty much over with.
20 points, 10 assists per game.
Yeah,
anybody can do that.
I wouldn't say that, but I would say James Harden has always been a stat machine, a stat stuffer. He's the guy that invented creating the
creating the fouls.
He literally create fouls. They made a rule just because of him.
Is that not being a smart, headsy offensive player?
I think it's doing too much.
But also, I feel like it's ruined. I feel like it's ruined the game a little bit, kind of. Because when you got him, every player's coming out every possession trying to draw just foul, just off of just swiping through. It just messes up the game of basketball.
And to me, if I'm going at you and I do this, but guys or the 3-point stuff, I pump fake and then jump into you, then shoot. Like the rules, I feel like the rules should be changed. But
when people guarding and they just swipe through just do like that, like stuff like that shouldn't be just immediate foul calls.
But as an offensive player, if I'm guarding you and I'm here, right, I'm basically hand checking you. If I swipe and get that call, now the next time you play defense, how you gonna be? You're gonna be back a little bit. So now I got space to hit you with a come up here with it. Now I got space to get around. Versus when I'm here, you right here, you with me.
But at the same time, when you're a defensive player, it's like how are you supposed to guard that at the same time?
It's not
because now you can't even close out.
True.
Because if you land under their feet, it's a flagrant foul.
It's not to your advantage. The game is for points to be scored. So they want to see that ball in the back. The NBA want to see that ball in the basketball because that's what the fans want to see, and that's what's going to generate more revenue. And with that being said, also you can still be a good defender. You just got to have quicker reaction time. That's all I'm saying. You got to be able to slide your feet instead of being able to hand check and. It take more skill on the defensive side, and it make offense easy. But isn't that what everybody kind of want to see?
Yeah, but and it's just like I like the crab dribble is really good to use. This next thing, shout out to AJ Plain. This man would literally get the ball and either bump into the defender or just flop. And half the time he got the calls, but then one game late in the year, he got called either for a tech or just the offensive foul for it. It's not an offensive foul, but now it's like it's not like you just play. They're not just playing the game. Now you trying to play with the referees, and to me, it's just like you just need to play. If it's a foul, let it get called. Don't try to generate or make something happen, because then that's when you start to get calls. It's not calls, but they call it just because it's like it's just like when the flopping rule they made, or now in college you get a tech for flopping. So we played one game against Kentucky State. I think it was Kentucky State. Dude shot a 3. It might not be Kentucky State, but dude shot a 3 and then fell down. So he got the 3 points, but then got a tech. So it's like they trying to take away those things from the game, but it's not.
Didn't they give Elite one time?
Yeah, he got.
They gave Elite a technical foul for that.
I don't know, but he didn't even deserve it.
He didn't even deserve it.
So now they don't know if it's a tech or if it's not.
Because now you're playing mind. It's like it's mind games now.
Yeah.
Do you have any more overrated players?
Yeah. Sorry. All right. I'm with Trae Young. No, I'm with James Harden.
Yeah.
All right. And my last two, I just combination together. Your guy, John Morant, because I think he's all flash, no substance. And
yeah.
Well, he is to me. And then Jason Tatum. I think he's to me where he should be, and the amount where he should be, he's not. And I think a lot of people think he's better than he is, and he should be a top 3 whatever player in the league. But a lot of times when it comes to when they need something to happen, or in clutch times, he wants to be the guy because he say Mamba mentality. Some people was comparing to Kobe, which he's nowhere near that in my opinion. But he's a guy that people, and I think he's better than he is. So he's overrated. Because honestly, to be honest, I would not. If I have to build a team, I'm not building around Jason Tatum, and that's just point blank. Period. But yeah, that's my elongated list.
Jason Tatum averaged 30 points per game last year,
but it ain't to a point where it's to a point where like when it matters the most,
he should be doing that.
He disappears sometimes.
He should be doing that, but he should. It's no way for them to have him and Jaylen Brown, 2 top 15 players. There's no way they should be in the NBA. They shouldn't be in the NBA Finals, and they lost to who? The Miami Heat, right? Unacceptable.
Fair. My top 5 overrated. I'm gonna give you a little 2 for 1. Julius Randle and RJ Barrett.
Yeah, thank you.
Jalen Brunson put them in his duffel.
What?
Like they were
absolutely no shows in that.
They're good, but they're not good. If you get what I'm saying, like they're not.
My question is, who actually rates them higher? Because I mean, when you say it's your list, I'm not saying they're not overrated, but I'm saying if you was taking the list, what you think they top 20? Are they
top
even
25?
Top 25 in the league.
Top 25 is crazy. RJ Barrett is not top 25.
I would say Randall is.
Randall is top 20. If you're saying off a recency bias, he's in the top 25.
So what is Randall's problem? Because
Randall is selfish. If you watch the Knicks play, he is very selfish.
He's very selfish.
His body language shows on it screams through the television. When stuff not going his way, he just moping. He kind of just throws his body. He's kind of like a kid throwing a temper tantrum a little bit when he on the court.
Inconsistent shooting.
So
he lacks shooting. He can shoot a little bit, but he's very high volume.
Okay, if
turnover machine. I'm sorry.
You good.
Turnover machine. A lot of things where Randall is just you're not that.
Yeah.
So if Julius Randle was watching this show and you give him one thing to work on offensively, what would you tell him?
One thing to work on offensively, Julius Randle, I would say just your playmaking ability.
Do you think it's a confidence thing, or do you think it should be my team and not Jalen Brunson?
And not even your playmaking ability, Julius Randle, because you do have games where you can get a triple-double. And I wouldn't even say it's something that you should fix in your offensive game. You do need to fix your three-point shooting, which everyone does. I just think the way you carry yourself on the court and your actions on the court is what needs to be fixed. And what was your question?
Do you think it's a confidence thing, or is it I want this to be my team kind of thing?
I think it's so he's trying to take on that role of this my team and I'm the face of the Knicks, when clearly that is not the case. Jalen Brunson is the face of the Knicks. And honestly, I feel like how Draymond was with Dylan Brooks, the team gets better without you. I honestly feel like the team gets better with you off of it, because you are like very ball dominant, and you really. I just don't think you help the team win a lot. I don't see it.
And just to refresh my memory really quick, he was with the Pelicans. Was he the guy, or who?
He wasn't.
He's never been the guy on no team he's on.
It was AD. It was AD.
New York before Jalen Brunson.
So when AD left,
no, AD
was he
left.
Still there?
AD left.
It was Ingram.
It was Ingram.
Lonzo
Ball.
Yeah. And probably Randall, but whenever Ingram was the face of that,
but Randall wasn't even the caliber player that he is now when he was with New Orleans.
So is this a situation almost like a Kyrie LeBron or a Kyrie LUKA situation where they obviously LeBron. So obviously Jaylen is the guy, but he wants to be the guy, Julius Randle. But he's the guy, so is it that kind of situation where he wants his own team? Now, nobody says he deserves his own team, but maybe that's the reason why the friction is. And Tom Thibodeau is not a good coach. I mean, not a good coach, but he's not an easy coach to play for, because he's very old school, demanding, it's going to be my way. So I could see that relationship being kind of the friction of, because he's not a terrible player. He thinks he's better than he is, but I think under a right coach, that he probably needs to be caught up some. He could be better than what he is right now. But that's just
I'm gonna go back to overrated. I'm gonna look at you, not the camera. Donovan Mitchell. Donovan Mitchell is overrated. great scorer, but I mean, if I'm putting up 35 shots a game, actually, that's a high number. But basically what I'm getting at is he's high volume. He has to shoot a lot to make a lot. So he's shooting 25 shots a game, and you giving me 27 points. Is that efficient? Is that helping me win, or is that just helping your stats look good at the end of the season?
Some points, some games he got 20 something in the first half. Some games, then the next game he turned around 4 points in the first half.
You know what I'm saying? You go for 70 points, then you come back with, I don't remember how many, like
16,
exactly.
14 points.
So it's like you're just very high volume. We don't know what we're getting every night from you, and then you lack on the defensive end. And I got 2 more, and I can put them in a 2-for-1.
Just a little bit on that. He did have the best season of his career. This past season, and I don't think you could say he playing with lesser players, could you?
Not at all, but he's still overrated. You said Jason
20.
Tatum. You cannot say Jason Tatum is overrated, and who had the best season of his career, who got to the Eastern Conference Finals the year before that, made the finals, but say Donovan Mitchell isn't overrated.
To me, you can't judge them two on the same stratosphere. To me, Jason Tatum, aka the next Kobe Bryant, he should be a top 3, top 5 MVP caliber player. To me, Donovan Mitchell is maybe in that top 10, top 12 kind of category.
Not even close.
But
Top
just
20
like what y'all said,
maybe,
20,
So I think you can't really grade him on the same playing field. But I don't think he's also hasn't been really like Utah was all right, but I don't think he's really been in the playoffs like. To me,
He been in the playoffs with Utah. Come on, don't do that.
I'm saying
Yes.
I'm not saying not being in, but not like being in consistently.
He been in consistently with Utah, 4 or 5 seeds every year.
But who is his number 2 guy? To me, if Jason Tatum off, he can depend on Jaylen Brown.
Okay.
When Donovan Mitchell was in Utah, like who was he gonna depend on?
Fair enough. Mike Conley, Gobert. Fair enough.
All right.
Right? Hold on. Before you even say that. Okay, you tried to shoot down my Jason Tatum argument. It's another player he named that was overrated. And there's no way you can shoot down this argument. You said Jimmy Butler is overrated. A player who got his team to the finals in the bubble, who has no second option. His second option is Bam Adebayo. A player who got his team to the finals this year and lost to the best team in the NBA all season, which was the Denver Nuggets. Donovan Mitchell and Jimmy Butler ain't that far off. So if you're going to call Jimmy Butler overrated, how are you not calling Donovan Mitchell overrated when he took his team to the first round and lost to the New York Knicks?
Exactly.
I get that, but to me, you can't compare those two. First of all, when
You couldn't compare Tatum to Mitchell, but you also can't compare Butler to Mitchell?
Because as an offensive weapon, Donovan Mitchell is classes above Jimmy Butler, and I don't think you can disagree with that.
And Butler is still a better Butler is still a better player. If you picking a team, you're picking.
Give me Donovan Mitchell over Jimmy Butler.
GM, you a GM. First pick in the draft. The best players in the draft is Mitchell and Butler. Who are you selecting?
I'm taking Butler.
You taking Jimmy Butler without a shadow of a doubt.
Why? Tell me why.
Because he's a better leader. He gets his team. He's
a
with
better
his
two-way
team,
player.
A better two-way player, and he can still give you 20+ points a game while doing everything on the defensive end, rebounds, points, and assists. I'm not understanding how one is overrated and the other one isn't.
Look at this perspective, right? You said you saying about the team wise that he wasn't on a contending team in Utah really that much. You saying this? Take the Knicks, Jalen Brunson. Tell me who is his second option that's compared to what a Darius Garland is.
But to me, and honestly, that moment was just too big for Darius Garland. He just wasn't ready, and that's what it. To me, it comes down to it. And I can understand if this was Garland's third, fourth, fifth playoff appearance, I can understand. But it's
Please do not do what you're doing right now.
what I'm saying.
You're trying to deflect on the Darius Garland. This is about Donovan Mitchell not being overrated.
Because to me, I think it's about obviously it's about defense in the standpoint. But honestly, I could if give me Donovan Mitchell and give me like a Javonte Landy, right? I can put you on the team best offensive player. 9 times out of 10, the best offensive player is not guarding the other team's best offensive player. So I don't think what he gives me on the offensive end to me combats anything that what Jimmy Butler gives me as a complete player. And secondly, obviously to me, and I get what you're saying about Jimmy Butler not having the second player, but a lot of to me, a lot of that it's more of on the Heat culture, on the way that they play defensively and the way they played as a team is really the reason why they made it that far. They're AFC. There's no reason why they should have made it to the NBA Finals, but the way they play the game of basketball is a complete team game. But I guess you could. I just don't think you could say Darius Garland is overrated unless you think he's a superstar.
We're not talking about Darius Garland.
I'm sorry. I don't mean Darius Garland. I mean Donovan Mitchell. You said this on the prior
Jimmy Butler
podcast.
isn't a superstar.
It's levels to these
to me,
players.
Jimmy Butler is a 2. To me, Donovan Mitchell can be a 1.
He can't be a 1.
He is not a 1.
He's
That's
not
why
a 1.
Darius Garland
He is
is on the
now.
team.
He's the one now.
I'm not gonna lie. Right now, you're showing what I would call fan base bias.
Yes.
This is nothing but fan base bias. You said I couldn't compare him to Jason Tatum.
Mm-hmm.
Fair. I'll let you have that one. Maybe I can. You cannot say I cannot compare him to Jimmy Butler. How can I not compare two players that play shooting guard to each other?
Take Jimmy Butler's. If you compare these two careers, and you take him when he was in Chicago, not making it to. Did he even make it to the conference finals? They should have beat LeBron one year
I'm not sure.
and ended up losing. But to me, and then he went to Miami, which was more. To me, it's more about the Heat culture and them as a organization than it is him.
Has Donovan
Like
Mitchell?
you had an 8th, like you led this team to an 8th seed, like 8th seed. Donovan Mitchell led the team to a 4th seed.
The year before that, the Heat were a 1 seed.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what are we talking about? It's not about one. It's,
Yeah.
it's not a. The Dallas Mavericks went to the NBA Finals one year as a 6 seed. Once you get to the playoffs, none of that seed and stuff mattered.
Mm-hmm.
They beat who they had to beat, which was the 1 seed. You know who else they beat? The team that your team lost to.
Mm-hmm.
What are we talking about?
I understand what you're saying.
So you saying?
It's fan-based bias.
So is Donovan Mitchell better than Kyrie Irving right now? Currently, right now, is Donovan Mitchell better than Kyrie Irving?
Yeah, without a shadow of a doubt.
That's what we.
I closed my laptop on that.
You disagree?
Man, come
First of all, Kyrie,
on, man.
how many
Come
games?
on, man.
I'm like, what are we talking? Are we talking about the Kyrie who he was, or this?
We're talking about
But I'm
Kyrie
saying,
now.
Kyrie, when the last time he even played a full season? Like Kyrie is he's too busy about the off the court stuff than on the court.
He's not busy
Like,
about
he
the
couldn't
stuff.
even-
That's what they make.
Mm-hmm.
That's
but
the
he-
narrative they push.
But he's so every time you hear him speak or not playing or doing this or doing that, like it's no reason why the Dallas Mavericks didn't make the playoffs last year.
It's because they don't have any defensive players.
They was already on the brink.
They
of
was
making
already on the
playoffs.
brink
They
of
traded
not
their
making the
whole-
playoffs.
They traded their whole roster
to get Kyrie.
All they had to do was win their last game and they in the playoffs, but they rested their players or whatever they did.
Because they
But
knew.
it's no reason. But it's no reason.
Why
Hold
try
on,
to get in the
listen.
playoffs? Why try to get in the playoffs if you're already not that good of a team? And why not rest your players instead of going into the playoffs knowing that you're going to be going up a team like Denver Nuggets? Why not just rest your players and try and reconstruct the team and come back next year? The team was already in a bad loop already. Why try and bring it? Yeah, that's what. Why try and bring the team?
Because at the end of the day, you never he's kind of spoken. You never know what could happen in the playoffs. It's just like me. Like if you was playing the game, and you got to, regardless of what the team, people might think the team is sorry. Not to go back to Savannah State, but 2 years ago, basketball team going to the tournament. Nobody think they been trashed the whole season. Nobody think they can win. You get hot and win the tournament. Like it's now obviously it's different for the NBA because it's playing series. But I think if you give me Luka and Kyrie any series, like if you give me them two, regardless, obviously you need the bench, but you give me those two guys, shoot, I'll take my chances.
I really don't feel like they could have came in the playoffs and even beat Denver 2 games. I really don't
Not
see
at
them
all.
beating Denver 2 games out of a
They're not beating
series.
Sacramento.
They don't have no bench. They have no defense at all.
No
You're
big
telling
man.
them to guard. You're telling whatever big man they had to stop Nikola Jokic from scoring the ball or playmaking. Also telling Kyrie Irving to guard these different players if they put him in pick and rolls. You got to think about how the size difference. They have one of the biggest lineups. Jamal Murray is 6'4".
You got Michael Porter Jr. on
6'10".
Hardaway Jr.
I don't even think Jamal Murray would have done what he's done in these other playoffs because he's gonna be guarding Luka and Kyrie on the defensive end.
All right,
the more you
these teams are very similar.
You're losing me right
now.
now.
But let me know right now, are you taking Luka and Kyrie over KD and Booker? Boy, please.
This isn't close.
That's what I'm saying, man.
We done got off the Donovan Mitchell thing because that was so that team was
By
so
far.
absurd. First of all, you said you can compare him to Jimmy Butler, and then he better than Kyrie. Anyway, KD and Book or Kyrie and Luka. This is not close, Randall.
I would take Luka and Kyrie.
Nah, I'm done.
I'm done.
Nah, you just chatting.
Yeah.
Why?
Why not?
Bruh. Look at this dude.
Seriously.
Wait till you see the. No.
To me, I think I could have put Devin Booker on my overrated list if I really wanted to.
After that playoffs he just had?
How far did they make it? And who did they lose to?
They don't think about it though. They are
lost to
the
the
only
NBA
team
champions.
that has beat Denver 2 games. The only team in the playoffs. The only
They made
team.
to the semifinals.
Devin Booker just scored 40.
Who's better, Devin Booker or Donovan Mitchell?
You been not.
It's Devin Booker.
Okay.
But this is my point. So you telling me, to me, Luka or Kyrie could both go for 40
Okay.
any night. I'm just saying, them two at like if they could play together, like I
But they're
more unstoppable than a KD.
But KD and Booker is more of a mesh than what Luke and Kyrie would be.
Yeah, I'm not saying, I'm not even talking about the mesh.
But
They
KD
should-
don't need the ball as much.
But they should be able to mesh. Just want get a freaking system. LeBron and fucking Kyrie. Sometimes he just said, "You go to work." They didn't have no offense. Sometimes LeBron go to work. Like it's or put them in the pick and roll together. You know, like it's those two talents together should be able to work and mesh. And to me, Kevin Durant is not like he's about to get out of his prime. Like as Luka and Kyrie. To me, Kyrie he's still really in his prime because he really haven't played as much as he could have. But I just think, to me, those two guys together, like that should be freaking.
But if you
special.
think about it though, the NBA is more constructed around teams that win most of the time are NBA teams that have either the 1 and the 3 are the best players on the team, either the 1 and the 5 are the best players on the team, or the 2 and the 3 is the best player on the team. There's not really many teams in the NBA you can say that are good, contending for titles, and it's the 1 and the 2 on the team. The 1 and the 2, point guard and shooting guard on the team.
I mean, the Warriors, Steph and Clay. I mean,
Fair.
but kind of obviously from a production standpoint, it's obviously KD and Book. But to me, if you could get both of those, because you can't defend. Most teams might have a couple. I don't think you're gonna have somebody that could literally guard Kyrie and Luka. Like maybe, but it's and if they do, at the end of the day, those two guys that if they can get whatever they want on the court,
They gonna get
if
theirs.
They're gonna get theirs.
If they own, like it's nothing you can try to make it hard on them, but it's nothing you can do.
But you got to stop people from scoring at the same time also.
Yeah.
And Luka is definitely not trying to stop nobody from scoring.
But then
Luka
you
on
better-
defense is a very liability.
Well, then you better outscore everybody.
Well, we're just spectators. We can't control what they do on the court, and we don't know what's going to happen next year. We can only just state our opinions. We appreciate you for tuning in on another episode of the No Laces Podcast. I'm your host, JADON'S. We had special guest today.
Javonte Landy.
And now I'm RANDALLS.
And don't forget, the No Laces Podcast is always on YouTube and now on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Please make sure to subscribe, like, comment, or even leave a download, rate, and review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Thank you. Appreciate you, brother. Wildin', we clowning, no laces, but we full
Watch,
style.
it's perfect timing. I can see clear, clarity diamonds, ice on the crew. Everybody shining, can't nobody stop me from grinding.